Brian's? Most of you. Well, 45 years is how long I've been married to my husband, Brian. And I know what you're probably thinking, how could anyone stay married to anyone for that long, especially someone called Brian? Well, actually, Brian is not his real name. One day I said to my husband, if there was any particular guy's name you would least like to be called, what would it be? Brian, he said. So that became our safe word. So every time he did or said something that annoyed me, I would let him know by calling him Brian. I pretty much call him Brian all the time. But just imagine sleeping with the same person for longer than most of you have been alive. And it's not sex that's the problem, it's the sleeping part. That's the challenge. So tonight I want to try something different. Rather than do stand-up about to sleep or not to sleep, what I want to do is actually read out a piece. Because the other thing is, when I was a little girl, I had a dream to be a newsreader. So now, not only do I get to fulfill that young girl's dream, but I get to write the story. So, coming to you tonight, tonight's feature story, Sleeping with Brian. Here we go. What keeps you awake at night? Is it the madness in the White House? The looming threat of World War III? Or the spiralling cost of just keeping yourself alive? Well, for me, it's always the same thing. So consistent, I've given it a name. OBO, short for Obstructed Breathing Orchestra, conducted nightly by my husband Brian from 10 p.m. till 6 a.m. Precisely 12 inches from my right ear. Oboe's repertoire ranges from its namesake, oboe, a deep, melancholic rumble from Brian's throat, to the piccolo, a canary trapped in his right nostril whistling SOS. If I nudge him, he responds like an alcoholic caught mid-swig. Oh, sorry, it was a snoring. Then, with the solemn resolve of someone swearing off snoring for life, he blesses me with 3 seconds of silence before the symphony begins again. But what bothers me most is not the broken sleep, it's my response. I don't push him out of bed, or I don't suggest the spare room. I don't even consider one of those air masks with the hose. Not because it wouldn't help, but because sleeping next to someone who looks like an elephant astronaut doesn't exactly get my heart racing. And do I want Brian complaining more than he already does about my lack of responsiveness in the bedroom? No. So what I do, without complaint, what I do is I quietly gather my pillow and blanket and relocate to the couch. Which begs the question, why? Why am I so quick to play the martyr? Last month, Brian delivered a rude awakening of his own. He told me that I make noises in my sleep. What? I gasped. What I felt like saying was, how dare you add a side serve of guilt to my already sleepless martyrdom? Then, like a poker player with an ace up his sleeve, he pulls out his phone and hits play. It's me. Not the triumphant brass of his own ensemble, but more like a cacophony of squeaks, peeps, whimpers and moans. Like kind of 1950s avant-garde epileptic jazz. Brian's least favourite genre. And if I'm honest, a tiny part of me had savoured my noble suffering, my smug glow of moral superiority as I took one for our marriage. But this was a wake-up call I didn't see coming. I wasn't the long-suffering saint. I was in the band. And that was enough to knock me off my perch. So, in deference to Brian and the uninvited jazz he's had to endure, I'll give him the last word, or two. His new nickname for me, Nostradamus.
Thank you.